Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So believe it or not, Windows 10 is 10 years old today. With Microsoft first announcing Windows 10 back in September of 2014, and on the 29th of July 2015, exactly 10 years to the date, Microsoft launched Windows 10 to the general public. Now, it was, as we would say on the channel, a step in the right direction after the Windows 8 fiasco. And it merged the new live tile interface with Microsoft bringing back the familiar start menu, which obviously was a big issue with Windows 8 when it first launched. And Microsoft also refocused the attention on the desktop for keyboard and mouse users, where Windows 8 was more focused on the mobile experience, as you may well know. Now, Windows 10 was made available as a free upgrade for Windows 7 and 8.1 users. And the launch of Windows 10 on the 29th of July 2015 wasn't perfect. And Windows 7 and Windows 8 users found out that Microsoft had popped a lot of telemetry, phone in home, into Windows 10, where Microsoft was getting diagnostics and feedback, which caused a little bit of a shaky start, especially for Windows 7 and 8 users who didn't have that back then. But I think you would agree that Windows 10 has become quite a popular operating system, and I think we can put it on a par now with Windows 7 and Windows XP, which I think are Microsoft's two most favorite, so to speak, operating systems. XP was mine. And the Windows 11 market share has finally caught up with Windows 10. So Windows 10 has so-called stood the test of time, so to speak. Now, Windows 10 had a lot of firsts. So there were many firsts with the operating system's launch. And one of those was the Insider program, which you could join to test new builds and features and so on. And it was also the first operating system to be updated twice a year with new features and platform changes. Now, obviously, that has changed now with Windows 11 going to a one-year cadence when it comes to a feature update. And we also had some moment updates, but Windows 10 was the first version of Windows to be updated twice a year. And it also introduced a lot of new features. I think the start menu now is what a lot of Windows 11 users are wanting. So that has stood the test of time. Microsoft revamped the UI with modern aesthetics. They started bringing in the Fluent design system to some degree or the other. There was Cortana, the digital assistant, which is no more. That's been deprecated. We've got Microsoft Edge, which also changed to a Chromium-based web browser. We have the Action Center, Windows Hello, and plenty more features. That's just a brief overview of some of the new features that Windows 10 did introduce into the operating system. And I think the reason for a lot of the changes was Microsoft didn't want Windows 10 to feel like you were using Windows 8, because Windows 8 I would consider to be one of the less popular versions of Windows. And Windows 10 would also go on to receive 14 major updates in its life cycle, with the last major OS release landing in 2022 as Windows 10 version 22H2. And I did post a video on that Microsoft had mentioned and announced back then that version 22H2 would be the last version of Windows 10. And although Windows 10 is 10 years old today, as we have been chatting about on the channel, it is reaching its end of support on October the 14th this year, 2025, which I think is a little bit sad, for want of a better word. And although it's reaching its end of support in October, Microsoft is extending that support for a year for home users and 3 years for corporations and enterprises. I'll leave a playlist in the end screen, the end of Windows 10 of this video, It'll give you all the information you would need if you want to know a little bit more about the upcoming end of support of Windows 10. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see if this is the actual end of the line for the operating system. I always knew that Microsoft would extend the support of Windows 10. It still has too much market share. I think they would be shooting themselves in the foot. But nonetheless, there we go. Windows 10 is 10 years old today. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.